Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and once again it is Sunday, and that means it's time for the Texas Gun Vault Poll Question of the Week, a weekly vlog where I ask you as my viewers and subscribers about something that deals with guns, gun culture, gun issues, or current events that I want to get your thoughts and opinions on. This week's question is going to deal with an issue that we have been debating since the 1960s, and no, it is not which is better, the AR-15 or the AK-47, but it does deal with the AR-15, and that is, what is the necessity, or your opinion on the necessity, of the forward assist on AR-15 rifles? Now, some of you may not know what the forward assist is. Now, I know a majority of you do, but let's talk about it real fast. It is this little button right here on the side of modern AR-15s and M16s. It's something that most AR-15 owners are never even going to use, and most novice shooters don't even know it's even there, even though their rifle has it. They never push the button, they never even think about it. So is it necessary? Do we really need it on this rifle? And for some people, this is a hot button issue. But with that said, let's dive right into this week's poll question. While filming a private video, which was a product test for a company, I ended up using the forward assist on an AR-15 to clear a malfunction, which made me wonder about the great debate regarding the forward assist on ARs. I know some love them, some hate them, and some are neutral for a myriad of reasons. I also made and posted a video about what happened on the Texas Gun Vault 2 channel, which can be referenced here. So what are your thoughts on the forward assist? Is it useful, unneeded, or you simply do not care? I'm just going to throw this out there and just say, personally, I like them, but I know that not everybody needs them. And their inclusion on most rifles doesn't bother me one way or another. Personally, as a gun collector, I like to have as many options on the gun that they possibly can come with. I know that in the future, the value of a gun can widely depend on what options it has. So for example, way back in the 1990s and the 1980s, HK offered the P7 with a threaded barrel. It was a very hard variant to get. But at that time, it could be ordered and it could be bought. But so few people did. Now that HK P7 with a factory threaded barrel is worth thousands and thousands of dollars more than the other variant. Now, I know this is a very common addition to any M16 or AR-15 rifle. However, who knows? It is an option that was included as part of the standard rifle. So maybe taking it away, it will deter the value of this gun going on into the future. Now, I know that's probably very unlikely, but it's just something that as a gun collector I think about when it comes to options. So when I buy a gun, I go, well, is it every option on that gun that could possibly be on it? Because normally that makes it a little bit cooler and a little bit more rare. But in the case of AR-15s and M16s, it doesn't make them rare. As I said, this is the standard. But I just like to have every particular option that there is on a particular gun. But I do have rifles that do not have them, and I'm going to show you one of those right now. This is my Shytac CT-15, and as you see on the side here, there is no forward assist. I have never needed a forward assist on this rifle, and this gun has run flawlessly without it. And yes, the upper is more simplistic and has fewer parts. Is that good or is that bad? Well, let's see what you guys have to say with this week's results. With almost 1,000 people voting this week, we have unneeded. Eugene Stoner got it right from the beginning, 8%. Unneeded, but it doesn't bother me if it's there, 22%. Needed, you never know, and if it saves just one life, 55%. Needed, one of the best additions to the M16 AR-15, 6%, and something else, I do not care either way, 9%. I have to say, the results of this poll made me really happy. It was actually not what I was expecting. I was expecting the results on the unneeded to get way more than it actually did. But that just could be because of my perception. The people that think that ARs do not need forward assists and that is somehow blasphemous to put them on there because Eugene Stoner did not put them on there, they are a very vocal minority. In fact, many people that I look up and admire, like the people over at Forgotten Weapons and their What Would Stoner Do project, well, they excluded the forward assist. I've even seen videos of Eugene Stoner talking about how stupid the forward assist is. So I totally get it. These are people that I admire and people that I respect. But just because I admire and respect other people doesn't mean I'm going to take everything that they say at face value and as gospel. And that's one of the reasons why I preach to you here. Do not have YouTube gun heroes. I know there's a lot of people out there that are gun trainers, or just because their face is on YouTube when they say something about a particular gun, people go out and say, well, I have to defend that statement. That's the best thing ever, whatever it is. And they come to my channel and I might have an opinion that disagrees with them about some gun or some aspect of firearms or maybe a law or what have you. They feel the need to get offended and of course go all crazy in the comments section. And I've noticed that when it comes to this particular debate with the forward assist. A lot of people on many other videos across YouTube, the forward assist is stupid. It adds so much weight. It's complexity. You don't need it. Any type of malfunction that the forward assist could clear could be cleared in other ways. And that's the majority of the comments that I see. But when people actually voted on it, I think they were a little bit more level-headed. Now, it is important to realize that the only reason the forward assist was truly included was because the military wanted it. Not because there was a need, but because they felt soldiers would feel better with it. Because most infantry rifles before the AR-15 and the M16 had some type of mechanism that could force the cartridge into battery if for some reason the locky lugs didn't fully engage. And that's the main reason it was included. It had to be that way so it could get formally adopted. So some people think it was one of those, the gun was designed by committee, Eugene Stoner didn't think it should be there, the military made a stupid decision and included it. But you guys seem to think that it might have some practical sense. Now, in my entire life, I have only used the forward assist one time. And granted, it was at the range. It wasn't a life or death situation. And the forward assist did clear the malfunction, or fix the malfunction that I had. So although many of my rifles do have forward assists, I've never really needed them. Now, there is the flip side to this. A lot of people say it adds weight and complexity. Well, the forward assist really is only about 4 parts. There's a spring, there's a plunger, there's a roll pin. I think the combined weight of it is probably less than an ounce. And as for complexity goes, I have never heard of anybody having a forward assist malfunction that prevented the rifle from firing. It's just never happened. I have looked it up. I have never seen somebody say, oh, the forward assist jammed, the whole mechanism broke, got caught in the action, and the gun could no longer cycle. Now, does that mean it's never happened? No, but obviously it's not a problem. So for me, the whole complexity issue goes out the door. Now, another thing about the forward assist and the people that say it adds complexity, well, those are the same people that would look at a gun like this, which is my Mark 18 Mod 0 clone, or one of them, and this has an LMT Mars L lower. People will go, oh my gosh, that is awesome. It is a LMT Mars L lower. Look at all those ambi controls. You have buttons and switches on both sides of the rifle to make sure you can drop that magazine and the bolt catch. Well, that adds a heck of a lot more parts than just the forward assist. So people that say, oh, it's so complex, are totally fine with other mechanisms and other aspects about the gun that add way more complexity, but they'll complain about that. Why? I don't know. Maybe they've never needed the AR-15's forward assist, and maybe their gun tube hero that they like says it shouldn't be there. So therefore, they're part of the church of no forward assist, and they have to go out into the world and preach that gospel. Now, I am a libertarian. You do you, I'll do me. What you do, as long as you're not hurting anyone or make me do what you want me to do, we're fine. If you don't like the forward assist, you don't have to have it. I could honestly care less either way. And like the majority of people in this poll, I like the fact that it's there because you never know, you may need it. But let's go through each one of these and let's talk about them. We have unneeded. Eugene Stoner got it right from the beginning. And that kind of reminds me of a build that I'm currently doing. I'm trying to make an XM 177E2. Now, this is a Vietnam-era version of the M16 or the AR-15, and I'm using some of the Brownell's retro parts. And one of the upper receivers that I got for this build is this 601 style upper receiver, and as you can see, it's like the original that had no forward assist. Now, some of the XM177s had them, some of them didn't. It just depended on the parts that the military was building them from. But for me, as I said, it's not going to take anything away from this clone, and the fact that Eugene Stoner was alive at this time and working with Colt when they were building these and working with Armalite and working with the military, he was adamant it doesn't need it. And so I totally get why some people say, well, I like the design. I think Eugene Stoner is an absolute genius. It should not be there. Then we have unneeded, but it doesn't bother me if it's there. So I think people here have voted in a relatively reasonable way. And what I mean is, okay, it doesn't bother me, it doesn't get in the way, it's definitely not needed, I've never had to clear a malfunction with it, but it doesn't bother me, it's just the way the guns come today, I'm not gonna get my panties all in a twist about it. But they have their opinion, it's not needed, they don't have to use it, and they're like, well, if you like it, so be it. Then we have needed, you never know, and if it saves one, life. And this is the one I have to talk about the most because it got the most votes, and a lot of people in the comment section talked about the Kyle Rittenhouse case. Now, you guys know the Kyle Rittenhouse case is a big story that happened in the past couple of years. And in that story, it came out that during the firefight that he got himself in, the gunfight that he got himself in, he did have a malfunction when he was on the ground. And he was able to force that cartridge into the case. It didn't go in there for some reason, or didn't go into the chamber for some reason. He was able to use the forward assist while on the ground under distress and get the gun back in action, and arguably it saved his life. And the reason that I bring this up is many of the people that say it is unneeded and every malfunction that can be cleared by the forward assist can be cleared a different way, I agree with. However, he was under stress. He didn't have time to drop the magazine, pull the charging handle back, reinsert the magazine, clear the run. He just had time in that instant to push that forward assist, and it potentially saved his life. There are many other stories from the Vietnam era where soldiers say it saved their life. And a lot of that had to do with the type of powder the original 5.56 cartridges were using, and of course the environment that they were fighting in with all the different type of debris and particulate that was getting into the action of the gun. And I was reading through the comments, and a lot of people said, hey, I have never used a forward assist on an AR-15, but when I was in the military and I was serving in Iraq or I was serving in Afghanistan, it saved my butt a couple of times and I did use it. So there are stories of people saying it did help them. And I think that's the most important takeaway here. This evidence from first-hand accounts and first-hand users saying, well, it saved me, I think that its necessity now speaks for itself. Do I think Eugene Stoner could have foresaw that? Well, absolutely not. But also, he couldn't have foreseen where the AR-15 is today. So do we say, well, it's not the same as the M16A1, therefore it's not what Eugene Stoner intended? Well, it's not what Eugene Stoner intended, but you have to admit, the AR-15 and M16 has come a long way, and it's done things that Eugene Stoner could never have imagined. Then we have needed one of the best additions to the M16 AR-15. Now, I'm surprised that many people voted for this. Of course, it was only 6%, but I don't look at it and go, wow, it absolutely has to be there. As I said, I have the Shytech CT-15, and I've never needed it at all. And hopefully, as a civilian, I am never going to need to use it in a stressful situation, in a gunfight. Because, as they say, the best way to win a gunfight is to avoid being in a gunfight. And that's kind of the philosophy that I follow. But I do have to admit my home defense AR-15s do have the forward assist. I don't think it was necessarily intentional, it's just the way it is. And then finally we have something else I do not care either way. I personally thought the needed, you never know, it saved one life would get the most, which it did, but then I thought something else I don't care either way would get the second amount. So I was completely wrong on that. But now you guys know how I feel about this. Let's see what you guys had to say with the top rated comments of the week. And with the top rated comment of the week, we have XJRob85, who says, I was taught to do chamber checks after loading the rifle by easing the bolt back and then tapping the forward assist properly to seat the bolt again. If you like to do chamber checks, I consider the forward assist to be necessary. There are other ways of checking the chamber though. Oh, and this is something really interesting that I didn't even talk about or even think about. You know there's no loaded chamber indicator on the AR or the M16, and probably in the military you have to make sure and double check. Do I have one in the chamber? You pull the bolt carrier back and that buffer spring does not have enough tension to force that bolt and those locking lugs back into place, and that forward assist can assist you in that. So I didn't even think about that. Of course, this is probably coming from somebody that was in the military. So that's a really interesting thought. All right, then we have Teen Seer Python, who says, used it a few times, usually when trying to be quiet. Close the bolt slow, tap on the assist a couple times to close it completely. Wow, another use of the forward assist that I wouldn't really think about in a civilian situation. So who knows, maybe this person was in the military, or maybe they're part of some type of police, military, SWAT team. I have no idea. And that need to be really quiet could be something really important to their job and tactical in that situation. Then we have Croc Dundee 411, who says, Kyle Rittenhouse said during the trial that he used his forward assist during a jam that night. Regardless of where one stands concerning him, it saved his life. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was saying. If it's there and it worked, well, it worked as intended. And so all those people that say it doesn't need to be there, I think really have to take this evidence into account. But that's just me. You don't have to use it. You don't have to build your rifles with one, but you have to admit that some people have been saved because of it. So taking a hard stand saying the forward assist should not be there, well, I think it's a little bit short-sighted. Then we have the Parallax View, who says, never needed it with the M16 when I was in service, but my hand loads using extruded canister powders sometimes jammed other semi-auto rifles, especially my 1970s Mini 14. The Swedish, oh boy, I'm going to mispronounce this, Lungman AGM42B and other gas impingement actions could be picky with powders that worked fine in bolt-action rifles. Okay, and so now we have some evidence that somebody said they never needed it on the M16, but needed it on other rifles. And as I mentioned, that's where the forward assist comes from. The military said other rifles needed it or required it. We want it on this as well, so soldiers feel more comfortable with it. And finally, we have George Gravette, who says, comes in handy if you have a batch of ammo or mechanical defect that causes the weapon to cycle just short of going into full battery. It saved a couple of range sessions for me. And once again, another comment that brings up an aspect of clearing a type of malfunction that I wasn't really thinking about. He wasn't in a life or death situation. He had some issue with the rifle. It just wasn't going into full battery every single time. Something he could probably easily fix at home. But because he had the forward assist, he was able to finish out his range day, go home, fix the rifle, fix the issue with the ammo, whatever it is, and that forward assist benefited him. So there you go. That's what you guys had to say. Really didn't surprise me too much. And the great thing about this week's comments is it had me think about things I hadn't even considered. You know, when it comes to the gun world, the reason I think people get so upset about certain issues is because of their own personal experiences. They don't listen to others. And I think it's really important for us to share our experiences. While I haven't had these types of issues, let's say with these older military guns, I've never served in the military, we have people that said the forward assist helped them. We had one person that said he never needed it. So we can take all of these data points and all of this information into consideration and make up our own minds. We don't have to be drones. We don't have to follow just one person on YouTube or one gun writer and say, that is gospel, he is right, that is it. We can all do this our own way, and we're all in this together, as I say, because we all love the Second Amendment. So what do you guys think? Do you think the results of the poll were right? What do you think about my opinions on the forward assist? Personally, I don't mind if they're there, but if I had a choice, I'd rather it be there than not. So it looks like I was in the majority this week. So I'm interested to see, now that you've seen how everyone's reacted, their top rated comments, and my thoughts on the issue, what you guys have to say in the comment section below. And if you guys want to participate in next week's poll, please go to the community tab of my YouTube channel. I will post next week's poll when this video releases. Go over there, vote, comment, and like other people's comments so we can get the top rated comments of the week. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching.